I want to thank the filmmakers for sharing those with us. Let's start with Andy Miller, just to get going here. Why don't you tell us how the whole thing got started with your film? What inspired you to make the film?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having us tonight. This is wonderful, and we're honored to be here at the film festival and to be alongside with you guys and your wonderful film. Our film, as you saw, was the opening of Mount Umunhum, which is in the Santa Cruz Mountains near Los Gatos, and of course the Amah Mutsun and their wonderful return to the mountain. We were just very fortunate to get the opportunity to film that and be a part of that. Of course, we said yes when the conversation started happening, and so it was a no-brainer that we were going to be there to witness the return of Val's people to their holy mountain, and to just get to know that beautiful mountain and to spend some days hiking and exploring that mountain with our cameras. Our job really in making Umunhum was just to point our cameras at an incredible mountain and an incredible story of Val's people returning, and kind of just not screw it up. It was a simple thing for us to do in most respects. So that was really what we did, and we had our cameras there, and we were honored just to be at the right place at the right time and have that wonderful opportunity and get to just be there to witness a real homecoming. That was, it was really moving to see the return of the tribe to that beautiful place.
Okay, and Val, how about from your perspective, what does this film mean to you?
Well, Mount Umunhum is the mountain where our creation story takes place, so it's always incredible experience to be up there. Because of our history, our people had been denied the right to go up to that mountain for well over 200 years and be able to return to that mountain, which is a sacred mountain to us, was an incredible experience for all tribal members. When they asked us to become part of the tribe and what we would like, we talked about it at Tribal Council, and we said Mount Umunhum is a place of prayer. And we wanted a place on the mountaintop so that we can pray to the four directions, so that we can pray as our ancestors did. And we wanted to be a place for prayer not only for the Amah Mutsun, but for all people. So I hope everyone here has the opportunity to go to Mount Umunhum and to see and feel the sacredness that's there.
Thank you. Why don't you pass that mic over to Tal, and Tal, tell us about how your film came about.
I read about Bob in an article online, and I just wanted to meet him. You know, I thought, gosh, I think I saw a picture of him going up a hill. I think it was White Mountain, and I thought, got to meet this guy. It's something about it sparked my imagination. And so I called him up, and we went for a walk, or we had some coffee, and we just hung out for a while. And I think that what struck me most about Bob as I hung out with him was sort of the universality of his story. You know, I obviously am able-bodied, but I felt like there was something in what Bob was doing that applied to all of us in our challenges in life. So.
Okay, Bob, you have some comments about the film, the experience?
It makes me sore every time I watch it. I have to go home and sleep for another 12 hours. And I'm looking forward to next summer and trying again after it's been, 4 years now? But I'm going to go back up. As I said, everything was a learning experience, and we figured out some ways that it may work this time. So we'll find out. And have a really good endocrinologist now, and you know, that's the most important thing. So as we work with her and get our stuff together, you know, you don't eat so much trail mix, though. I tell you what, I got to come up with something different this time. But yeah, I'm still hiking, rolling around as much as I can, and loving every minute of it. Rain, shine, whatever works.
Well, both films very inspirational, and really appreciate having them in the festival this year. So why don't we turn to the audience and see if anyone out there has a question. Just raise your hand, we'll bring the mic over to you.
Hi, yes, thank you all for the two films we saw. I was just curious on the Four Wheel Bob film, congratulations, by the way. what your film equipment and crew was to make that happen. You had shots from above, you had shots from up the trail, you had people mic'd as they were approaching, or at least a boom mic that was picking up their voices. You were right behind the wheel, you were attached to the chair. You had all these different angles that was fabulously put together to make us really feel the grit and the ordeal of the inch by inch, foot by foot, progress, regress, progress up the trail. I'm just wondering how you did that filmically.
Well, thanks for noticing that. And I think I'd be remiss if not to say that, I think we can all agree filmmaking is a team effort, right? So I just want to point out our wonderful aerial and time-lapse cinematographer, Michael Reynolds, if you'd stand. He's here. Michael, and acknowledge him
There he is, right there.
for his great work. We have a lot of crew. We also have my co-editor, Stephen Bagel, if you'd stand for a second.
Yes. There he is in the back.
And Basil Galloway is here, an additional editor, cinematographer. Basil, if you'd stand just for a moment. Maybe he went, there he is, okay, in back. And,
All right.
and lastly, we had a very a prolific writer, and he's written for many magazines, Climbing Magazine, Outside Magazine, who is our mountaineering advisor, Robert Roper, if you wouldn't mind.
All right, over here.
Thank you. So quickly to answer your question, yeah, I thought really to capture Bob's experience, and it was a twofold thing because we didn't want to have too much impact on the mountain. We didn't want it to look like a circus up there with, so we had very small cameras and we had a very small crew. In the 2014 adventure, it was just myself, another camera person, Michael doing drone work, and then some GoPros mounted to the chair in various places. So yeah, thanks for noticing that. I think mostly we just wanted you as an audience to viscerally feel what he was going through, as you noted. Yeah.
More questions? Anyone out there? There's one over on the right.
First of all, thank you, and I'm really looking forward to going up to Mount Umunhum. That's how you say it, right? Bob, I always knew you were a little weird, but now I know for sure. But I did notice that on a lot of your effort, you're looking down and not around at the environment. And I wonder if that takes away, because you're having to work so hard, and I know you're having to look where you're going. And I'm wondering if that takes away some of the outdoor experience for you. And would it, I guess that's a two-part question, would it take away from your accomplishment if you had someone, say, carry your chair over all that rocky area? Maybe that's in your plan, I don't know.
Last one first. Yes, it would. However, if I go up again, I've done this first section twice. So if I were to get past that rock pile on a horse and go from there, I wouldn't lose a whole lot of anything, quite honestly. It's no rocks that I haven't cussed out before. And the fact is that fortunately, Tal cut out all the times when I was sitting there, either resting or just kind of catching my breath after getting up there. It requires concentration to find the right angle to hit the rocks so that both wheels are going up at the same time. So that looks like I wasn't listening, but trust me, I saw every pica that I could when I was out camping, when this tent was up, and just listening to the birds all day long. There's little better than that. I think I mentioned in the film having a stewardship. We have to have the stewardship, so I tried to keep my impact as low as I could while still getting over rocks and tearing them up and things. But yeah, many times between 2 or 3 pushes, I'd stop and just listen to see what's happening around me. So one of my favorite things to do is just go outside and listen to what's happening in the trees on the trail up ahead. It's a great way to spend some time.
Other questions? Over on the right. Okay.
Thanks. This question is for Bob also. I wonder if if you could say more about, at some point in the film, you say there are no failures, and that seems to be a really important point of the having a journey, having an experience. Can you say more about that? Because in the hiking world, and I'm part of the mountaineering world also, sometimes the summit is the thing, or the destination is the thing, but you're saying that's not the thing. So I wonder if you could comment on that.
I had to adjust my mentality over the years, because at one point when I was walking and hiking, it was the thing. You know, if I had done White Mountain when I was walking and had to stop and turn around, that I might have considered it a failing, because I was always in pretty good shape. Anymore, you know, in a wheelchair, when you get up above 10,000 feet and you're out in the middle of nowhere, anything you do is a plus. It's just a mindset you take on, and you adjust your sense of scale, quite honestly. And you have to figure out that just being out there, number one, is a plus. Being out there and pushing and going through what you may have had to go through. On White Mountain, the first time I went up, it didn't hit 20 degrees the first day I was out there. It was in September, and the wind was blowing all day long. And I won't say it was painful, but the learning experience from that was that you don't do it in August instead of the end of September. Try that. And it worked. So everything you do or don't do out there means the next time you try, should you not give up, meant that you figured something out along the way. I still have to learn how to patch my hands better. That's an ongoing thing, and that happens on our local trails too. But you've got to take away something. It isn't always the summit. It used to be that way in my life, but these days it's not. As I fight a combination of diabetes and all that brings with it over 45 years, and then being in the wheelchair with brittle leg bones. You know, just about anything is a plus to me anymore. So I don't count defeats. I don't count failures. I don't believe in them. The mind, you know, what crosses my mind that damn it, I have to go back. It's a failure. We missed something. Lasts for about 2 minutes. And then I'm all the way down, I'm planning the next trip.
Thank you. Another question in the back on the right? Or you have one over here. Okay.
Hi, I just wanted to thank the tribal leader and you and your people for being so welcoming after having been kept away from that sacred place for, you said 200 years, so I just felt very grateful that you were willing to share it with us, so thank you.
Thank you very much. Our directive from Creator is to take care of Mother Earth and all living things, and you're part of the living thing, so it's our responsibility. So that's why we do what we do.
Okay. We have a question in the back on the right.
Yes, I'd like to know more about the Amah Mutsun tribe. How many tribal members are there? Do you have tribal-owned land in this area? And how did the partnership with the Park District come about?
Thank you for the question. Our tribe is comprised of the descendants of the indigenous peoples that were taken to missions San Juan Bautista and Mission Santa Cruz. So at the current time, we own no land. We're a land trust without land. Our directive from Creator is to take care of Mother Earth and all living things, as I said. And to do so doesn't require ownership of land. We never felt that, we knew that we never really owned the land prior to contact. The land belongs to Creator. It still does. And so what we have the responsibility to do is to steward it and take care of it and all living things, as I keep saying. Our tribe had a lot of trouble with trust and reaching out to the public, and we just kept a very, very low profile until about the year 2000. Other people were claiming our identification and speaking for our lands. So the elders came and asked me to start to run for chairman of the tribe and to start speaking up for our territories, which we've done. In 2006, the tribal elders came to a council meeting and said, Creator has never rescinded our obligation to take care of Mother Earth. That is still our obligation, and we must find a way to do it. And I got to be honest, I walked away shaking my head saying, boy, we're a very poor tribe. The majority of our members live at or below poverty. We can't afford to live in our territory. Majority of our members live in the valley. But we did what we do. We prayed and asked Creator to show us a path. And then we got invited to Pinnacles National Park, and that turned into a wonderful relationship there, going on in and helping them steward their lands and taking care of our native plants there, consulting with them on how to take care of the condor and the grasslands, et cetera. And then state parks and Bureau of Land Management and other landowners, including Mid-Peninsula Open Space District, they learned about that relationship, what we were doing with Pinnacles, and they talked to us and they invited us to come out to their lands as well. And so that's how that came about.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Yeah, here, right in the middle.
Did they know at the time that it was your holy mountain? I mean, when they invited you to come to that land? I mean, how did that conversation unfold?
I'm glad you asked that question too. It's really interesting. Mount Umunhum is the original name of that mountain, and Umunhum translates to the home or the place of the hummingbird. And so, and it's still called Mount Umunhum, as I said now. It's recognized on maps throughout time as that. And so they started looking into the history of the mountain, and that's when they learned about the creation story for not only our tribe, but for most of the other tribes that you recognize as Ohlone. It's the creation story for many Ohlone tribes. And so they said, well, it's their mountain. They're a stakeholder. We need to talk to them about what they would like. And so we got a call out of the blue, so to speak, and just totally shocked us, because that doesn't happen too often, that a total stranger calls a Native American tribe and says, we want to talk to you. This is your mountain. You have to have a voice here. And so they invited us in. So we talked to tribal elders we talked at tribal council. And what should we talk to them about? And they say Mount Umunhum has always been a place for prayer. And so that's what we need to do. We need to restore Mount Umunhum as a place for prayer. And then they said, not only for the Amah Mutsun or for other Native Americans, but for all people.
Okay. And any more questions? Oh, over here, okay.
Yeah, one thing that isn't or wasn't clear in the movie that everybody should know about Mount Umunhum is that it's a spot where you can see an amazing vista on a clear day. You can see Diablo, Tam, Mount Hamilton, the San Francisco Bay, and the Monterey Bay. So it's a really unique spot and a really amazing feeling. Now, as you saw in the film, there's that radar station there, which is this huge concrete block. And I think that originally the Mid-Peninsula Open Space District wanted to take that down. They removed the barracks for a community of 200 military who lived up there. But apparently, over the years, the people who lived down there got attached to seeing this block up in the air. It was sort of like their landmark, and would tell them where they were. And people actually campaigned to save it and raised money in order to save it, because it would have been much cheaper to just take it down. And as someone who doesn't live there, I found that to be absolutely amazing that they would want to keep it. And I'm kind of wondering how the tribe feels about that.
Well, we knew it was important to the military, and they had a campaign ongoing. And our tribe, as most Native American tribes, respect and honor warriors. And we saw the military as being part of being warriors and stuff like that. So we said that it's important, you know, that we would be fine with that building being there, provided it's natural, once it comes down under natural conditions, that they don't rebuild it. And the way they built it would probably be good for another 100,000 years. But that's okay, you know. We'll, you know, when it comes down, you know, we just do not want it built again.
Okay, probably have time for one more question.
I have one here, Jack.
Okay.
Hi, good evening. This question is for Bob. I was wondering, I saw your hand in the film. What happened? Why was it pinching with the wheel? Can you tell us about it?
With the, I'm sorry.
I saw in your hand like a blister, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Well, you push. I grab the whole wheel when I'm pushing. I grab the tire and the rail on the outside, not just the outside rail. And it puts a lot of pressure in various spots on my hands. And even locally, when I go out and on a real long day, I will start getting hot spots where blisters will start to form. And I have to let them rest for a few days generally. I don't like them to bust through like they did on this trip because infection is right around the corner. And infection and wilderness are words that are not good with each other in the same sentence. And bad things can happen out there, and that's why we made the decision to, you know, come back down. Reluctantly, but I had some reluctance in front of me too with these Toyota-sized rocks in front of me. So we'll have to worry about that in the interim. But yeah, blisters are just a problem that I'm going to have to figure out how to deal with on a real long backpacking trip. I've made several that are 5 days and up, in which I had no problem with the blisters. So it could have been a combination of variables that resulted in that. But sweaty hands, tight gloves, and not enough padding.
There you go. Okay, I think we're going to wrap it up here, and we appreciate having you all here. Let's give them a round of applause for them and their films.